Hello and welcome to Pisgah Health Today. My name is Angela Owen, and it is my privilege to host this program brought to you by the Pisgah Health Foundation. The Pisgah Health Foundation is a public 501c3 charity founded in 2019 by a board of 7 caring individuals committed to improving the health, wellness, and lives of Western North Carolina residents. And our special guest today is Tammy Hopkins. Tammy,
Hey.
hi Tammy, welcome to our program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And
I
Tammy,
love your artwork in the background.
thank you. The late Tim Murray did the painting behind me, and Gordon Murray, his son, did the glassworks over here. So a little shout out to my office mates and
Yes.
fellow compadres, but thank you. Tammy comes to us today as the Senior Marketing Manager and Engagement Lead for Blue Zones Project Brevard, which means all things people. That's my understanding. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, we focus on 3 things with the Blue Zones Project: people, places, and policy. So I'm the people person, Trent Humphreys is the places person, and Mark Burrows is the policy person.
Well, Tammy, you're the perfect people person. Let me just say that from our work before, as you and I worked together, and you were at the Arts Council. So
Yes, many people will know me as Tammy from TC Arts. I still get little kids who run up to me and hug me on the leg. And so a lot of people before that, I may not know, I was Ranger Tammy at the Cradle of Forestry. I was the people person there doing the events and all the marketing and PR. So, and the side thing I do is film liaison, but I am so happy now to be with the Blue Zones Project. I've known about it for years. Friends of mine actually moved to a blue zone in Costa Rica. So as soon as I heard about it, I raised my hand and said, pick me, pick me.
well, you've done so many different amazing things in our community, but tell the person who may not be familiar with Blue Zones, what is Blue Zones Project?
Well, Blue Zones Project is a well-being initiative that comes into a community and works with people, places, and policy to help people. I'm gonna give you 3 words: live longer, better. It's on my t-shirt behind me. The whole goal of Blue Zones is to help communities and people live longer, better.
Love it, love it. And I understand there's something called the Power Nine. Tell me about the Power Nine.
Yes, okay, so let's give a little history about the Blue Zones Project. So this really cool guy named Dan Buettner worked with National Geographic. He's what's called a National Geographic Fellow, or they call them adventurers. And so instead of reporters or journalists, they're adventurers. And so National Geographic wanted to know, where are people living the longest? Where are people living to be 100? Where is that in the world? So Dan Buettner and his team, which included some of his brothers, went out and scoured the country, and then they went to the world and all over, found 5 places where people live the longest. They're living to be 100 years old and fully functioning and fully a part of the community and society. They're not having the diseases that we have here. They don't have senior homes to put people into. And so they find the 5 places. Then you got to figure out why they're living to be 100, right? And not just that they're living to be 100, but how are they doing it? So they spent years and brought doctors and scientists in, and they found out that there are 9 common denominators in these 5 communities. And so that's what we're calling the Power 9. And so the Power 9 is in each of these communities, they are moving naturally. They have a sense of purpose. When they wake up in the morning, they know what their purpose is that day. They know how to take time to downshift every day. Take time for yourself. They live by the 80% rule. You don't just eat everything on your plate. You remind yourself that when you're 80% full, you should probably stop eating. A lot of these communities are plant slant. And I'm not going to say vegetarian because it's not that. They do eat meat. It's just that they grow their own plants and vegetables, their own fruits and vegetables, and that's the major part of the meal. And then they'll have meat a couple of times a week. And when they're having meat, it's like the size of the palm of your hand, just this little part. It's not a big steak like this, Big Mac.
They didn't supersize it.
Right, yeah, they don't. So they go plant slant is the best way to describe it. They know how to take time at the end of the day to be with friends. And some communities call this wine at 5. In Brevard, we're going to call it friends at 5 because it's not about the wine, it's about the company. And so friends at 5, taking that time for your social connections. The other thing is having the right tribe. the people who surround you, which ties back into your friends at 5. The people that you hang out with and the things that you do together influence your life and your well-being. So having that right tribe. And of course, one that's I know very close to you is putting your family first, loved ones first. And yes, you have a job. Yes, you have community responsibilities. But when it comes down to it, your family is the most important thing. And so that came over time and time again in these communities. And the last Power 9 is called belonging. So they all belong, whether that's to their community, to their church, spirituality. It doesn't have to be a church. It's whatever it is to you, that spiritual connection that you feel with your community, with the place you live, with the universe, if you will. So those are the Power 9s that they found that all 5 original blue zones have in common.
Well, tell me, where are those 5 original blue zones?
Right. So one of my favorite places is Sardinia, Italy. And it's not along the coast. When people look that up, they're going to see coastline. This is up in the mountainous region. And so Sardinia, Italy, Costa Rica, it's a little peninsula called Nicoya. And that's where friends of mine went, they moved to when they heard about the blue zones years ago. Okinawa, Japan. I have friends who have spent much time there. And an island in Greece, and I'm going to say it wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Icaria is what it looks like to us in English, Greece. But it literally, the way they say it, it sounds like there's 20 letters in it. So you got Sardinia, Italy, Okinawa, Japan, Greece, Nicoya, Costa Rica, other places. And so Dan Buettner and his team were like, is there any place in the United States that maybe has these qualities? Loma Linda, California. Wow. So, but not the whole town of Loma Linda, California. One section of it, and they are the Seventh-day Adventists, and it's the largest community of Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California. And so those are the 5 original blue zones.
And we're wanting to add Brevard into that. So there we go, right?
Yeah, and so, but here's the deal. Brevard would be the 50th blue zone community. We're attempting to be that. It takes 3.5 years to get certified to be a blue zones. So we're in the first 6 months of that. And this summer we'll start our 3-year next phase of transformation. But yeah, so we're the 50th community in the United States. Actually, I'm sorry, I have to say 50th in the world now because now Canada has joined in. So now we're the 50th in the world of a blue zone here since the launching of the Blue Zones Project. And we're the first in North Carolina. And we're the only community on this side of the East Coast except for Naples, Florida.
What an incredible opportunity we have here in Brevard. You mentioned something, and I understand there are phases or stages behind this Blue Zone project. What are those, and where are we in Brevard?
Right. So when they hired us on, Trent Humphreys, Mark Burrows, and myself, they made it clear that this was a 3.5-year commitment and a 3.5-year project to make this happen. It's been scientifically proven in 49 communities before us, and they really have a thought out, well-organized machine, if you will, that we have to go through these steps and training, and not just us, but our steering committees, our other committees, so that we know how to do this. And we have to track everything, and there's metrics, and you have to prove your successes. And if it wasn't successful, then how do we go back and fix that? And why was it not? Because every community is different. So you got to tweak the system to fit your community. So where we are now and what we're wrapping up is called discovery and research. And so we have spent the last 6.5 months discovering where Brevard is, what Brevard's well-being is or not, and then researching that and coming up with a plan, coming up with a blueprint. And so we officially, a week ago, had printed our blueprint for Brevard. So this is our 3-year plan to become a certified Blue Zones project. So what happened in that stage? So discovery, we met with more than 55 businesses and organizations that deal every day with health and wellness. You don't want to come into a community with a new program and just say, hey, this is what we're doing. We need to find out what's already happening. What's already going on here? What's been successful? What are our challenges? And then how do we help fix that? And how do we lift those organizations that are already trying to do this and make them a part of our team? And so a lot of those folks are part of our steering committee or a board of directors. And then I have committees, Trent has committees, and Mark has committees. And so with those 55 different organizations and businesses of people already dealing with health and wellness, they have partnered with us and we're helping them and they're helping us. And we hopefully what that does is lift our entire community over this 3.5-year period.
I so appreciate going and finding out what's really happening before you just come in and put it together.
Yeah, because every community is different. Friends of ours in Salinas, California are launching the Blue Zones Project. Well, they're called the Salad Bowl of America. It's all migrant workers. And they're literally where a lot of our produce come in America is from Salinas, California, from the Salad Bowl, as they call themselves. And so their approach had to be different. Everything had to be, all the documents had to be changed into Spanish. They had they had a high rate of obesity. They had different issues that they're dealing with there than maybe we will be dealing with. And so that the discovery and research stage is so important in each community to get it right for when you launch. So we met with all these businesses and organizations, and I want, just so I'm clear, that's like organizations like the Sharing House, the Bread of Life, Boys and Girls Club, Rise and Shine, the health department, doctors. And so people who are already dealing with health and wellness and again, their successes, their challenges. A lot of our doctors, what we found out was they actually had the Blue Zones books in their lobbies and were recommending them to their clients.
Fantastic.
Yeah, to their patients. Yeah. So we take that information and then we started meeting with the public. So we held several public sessions and had individual sessions as well. We met with 452 people who also deal with this. People who are fitness coaches, psychiatrists, again, the doctors. So you take this pool of information and that's what you start putting together to put into your strategic plan, your blueprint. We have to call it a blueprint because we're the Blue Zones. So
consistent.
I've been here 24 years and I thought I knew a lot about Brevard. There's a lot of stuff that we just don't know, and every day the need that is in our community, the need for food, the need for medical attention, dental attention, just simple well-being. People don't know how to cook healthy food. You give them an eggplant and they don't know, number one, what it is. Number two, what do you do with it? And so a lot of education is going to go into when we decide to launch here this summer. So that's research and discovery kind of in a nutshell.
A lot of amazing information. We'll talk about the summer. What programs, what's going to happen? What can we expect in our community?
Right. So now we're entering in mid-June because we're still in the middle of training right now. We're in 200 hours of training for the launch. So, and we've been training ever since October 28th in the middle of research and discovery. They just, because there's so many levels of this and so many layers, is every month has a different focus. So right now what we're learning is how to launch the programs of the Blue Zones Project. It's called the transformation period. And so that will start around mid-June to the end of June and go for the next 3 years. And so programs that we're learning about, purpose workshops. And remember me mentioning the Power 9 is everybody in those 5 original Blue Zones woke up knowing what their purpose was. They knew what their personal gift was and how to give that to their community. And so we're going to be hosting purpose workshops and helping people find, and there's this Richard Leader came up with this project and he partners with the Blue Zones to come up with the materials. I got to participate in one in Florida, down in Naples, and I have to say it was life-changing. You think you know your gifts, but when you go through this process and there's this deck of cards and you have this whole thing where you have to just go with your gut and say, yes, that's me. No, that's not me. Maybe. Well, if it's a maybe, it's a no. So put the no's and the maybes aside, look at your yes pile. And my yes pile told me what my gifts were and what I have to contribute to the community. And so through our purpose workshops, then we hope to link people up to nonprofits with their gifts. Everybody has a different gift and everybody has a different talent. So I'm very excited about that. And we are now in 4.5, 5 weeks of training for the purpose workshops. So that starts this Thursday and we'll go all the way through June and then be ready to launch those in July. That's one program. The other ones that I'm excited about are called Walking Moais. Now the word Moai is, what we're gonna call it is more than I. So I walk all the time, but I see other people out walking in groups, or some people are like, no, I only walk alone. So this is about more than I. It's getting people together, whether you know each other or not, and making a commitment to walk weekly together and to have that social connectedness while you're moving naturally. There are communities, they call them the beach cities out in California. I used to live in San Diego. Several of the beach cities went together to become a Blue Zones project. They have people who have been walking together for 14 years.
Wow.
They still meet weekly and walk. As one gentleman said, he's in his 60s. He said, we have been through births, deaths, and marriages and divorces in our walking group. So it can be very powerful. And
you know, I hear sharing life. That's what I hear. They're sharing life when they're
sharing. Yeah, having that social connectedness is so important, especially as we get older. When we're young, we have 20 friends in high school and at home and at church. And as you get older, that pool of friendship becomes smaller. And it gets down to just a couple of true friends. And then when your spouse or your partner passes away, then it even gets smaller. So it's making sure that we have social connectedness all the way up to the end. And that helps people live longer. Mm-hmm. It's been proven. So that's what's fun about the Blue Zones. There's a lot of science to back this up. So transformation. So we're going to be launching the purpose workshops, these walking moais, and cooking and education is so important about the Blue Zones. So there's a cookbook out now called the Blue Zones Project. It just came out as we were starting. So we are actually featured in the front of the book as the 50th community for the Blue Zones. So Katina, if anybody wants to stop by, Katina at the Blue Ridge Bakery has been using this cookbook already. She's already been holding some classes, but we'll be launching what I'm going to call them more cooking demos as opposed to classes, because we're going to have people like Katina and different chefs using recipes from the Blue Zones cookbook and teaching it to people in every community. We want to have it at the bakery. We want to have it, maybe at the kitchen at the music center, up at Honesty, at the different community centers, up at Cedar Mountain, up in Balsam Grove, at Rise and Shine, at Sharing House. And so this education starts to trickle down as people feel comfortable cooking the different kinds of foods that maybe they didn't grow up on, these healthy choices. And through that, we hope to launch a lot more community gardens over the next couple of years. So we just finished last week giving seeds to all the nonprofits so that they can start doing their gardens, but also give to the people who come there, to the kids at Rise and Shine, to the kids at Boys and Girls Club, the Family Place, Caring House, put the seed packets in their groceries that they gave out to people last week. So just a great program, very excited about it. And so purpose workshops, walking moais, cooking demos, and potlucks. Again, that social thing, but getting people to commit to meet once a week or once a month, whatever we decide to do, cooking something out of a Blue Zones community and start spreading these recipes. We're working with the Transylvania Times to start putting a Blue Zones recipe in the newspaper coming up once we launch. Just very excited. So that's the people. That's my section with my team. Those are the kinds of things we're going to launch. Now, Trent Humphreys, who does places, he'll be working with grocery stores. Can we get every grocery store to have a healthy checkout lane? A Blue Zones checkout lane, no chocolates, no candies, no soda pops while you're standing there, but fruit, water. What a great idea. Imagine these families that come through and the kids are grabbing every candy bar and every soda. I see it happen every time. So I'm very excited about that one for myself too. I don't want to.
My husband and I will have to take that.
Yeah, the Heath bar gets me every time. So yeah, I need the healthy checkout lane. I'll be working with schools, seeing if we can get kids safe routes to schools, getting people walking to school, getting that energy out. So once they're at school, they can focus. Getting community gardens at the schools. We actually, in Naples, Florida, at the Blue Zones community that was certified, it was in Naples, out and around there. One of the schools fed us entirely our lunch from their garden, 100% at the elementary school. Prepared, prepped, the kids take care of it. It's one of their classes at the school as they learn how to tend it and how to grow their own food there. It was amazing. It's, of course, when you grow it yourself, it tastes so much better. So, and Trent, one of the biggest things Trent will be doing is working with work sites. How do you keep your employees happy and satisfied and healthy? That way, if they're healthy, they want to come to work. They're not going to be missing work. Your insurance rates are going to go down. The entire business and the entire community wins. People are excited to go to work. They're excited to be with their coworkers. So putting walking programs in there, helping them, there's a whole process. And I'll let Trent, I know he's going to talk with you soon sometime, so he can tell you all about that. So that everybody has something that each one of us is launching different programs in the community, focusing on people, places, and policy. Now, can I back up for 1 second?
Of course.
I have some numbers that I want to go over. So in the research stage, we worked with Boston University, the Blue Zones Project, Boston University, and our parent company, ShareCare, to find out, we had to find out where Brevard is. Are we healthy? Are we not? Are we obese? Do we have heart disease? You know, what's going on here? We need to have a baseline set of numbers so that at the end of 3.5 years, we can compare that and show that we had an impact. So we did, the first thing we launched was called the Wellbeing Index. And this is a survey that's been taken by millions of people across the United States. And it's looking at everything from your health and wellness, your mental well-being, your financial well-being, your connectedness to your community, your overall well-being, physical, mental, social, spiritual. And so that launched in January and went through the end of February. And then they had a month or two to prep all the numbers for us and get those back. So what's interesting is Brevard, if you look at North Carolina and then Brevard, North Carolina's numbers were here, Brevard's numbers were up here. We're doing good compared to the rest of the state. So our well-being score as a community was 64%. 64% of our community feels like their well-being is fantastic. Our social score was 59%. So we hope to see that one rise into the 90s at the end of 3.5 years. That's our whole goal, is to get the social connectedness. Community sense was 69%. They feel like some part of the community they're a part of. We would love to get that up to 100% when we're done. And physical, 62% of our people thought that they were at least physically active and physically somewhat well. So that, you know, and mental is part of that, is thinking that you're healthy. So that's a great sign. And again, our numbers were way above, Brevard's numbers were way above the rest of the state. So that's great. Now here's the other side of it. 54% of our people are obese or overweight. We may be physical, we may walk and things, but we're still obese or overweight. 54% of our population. 5% of our population still smokes. High blood pressure, we have almost 36% of our population has been told that they have high blood pressure. So we know it's way higher because there's some people who don't know. So only 36% know that they have high blood pressure. Same thing with high cholesterol. 25% of the people have said that they have been to the doctor and they know that they have high cholesterol. Heart disease also came up, and diabetes came up as well. And so, but a lot of people don't know they have diabetes. A friend of mine a year ago was in a car accident. He didn't know he had diabetes. That was how he found out. He passed out. So a lot of education needs to go into this, and we know that our numbers are higher than what we're seeing here. And these were just the people who filled out the survey, and only the people who'd been, and they said I had been told. So I find that interesting. So at the end of 3.5 years of Blue Zones, we hope that our numbers look fantastic. In some of the Blue Zones communities, they have dropped obesity 63%. In several of them, that was in Minnesota, in the beach cities in California, so Minnesota and Iowa. So I'm very excited to see what we can do here.
We have so many great things going for us, and this is just going to really bring home helping a lot of us to just adapt in and change some habits and find some community. I so resonate with purpose and the belonging piece. That just absolutely catches my heart and resonates with me. Tammy, I could absolutely talk to you all day. We should do this while we're walking sometime.
Yes.
You know, let's make a plan there. But as the people person leading this, if you could leave like one message with our viewers about Blue Zones, what's something we've not talked about today that is near and dear to your heart that you would say, I want to make sure that my fellow Brevard people and Transylvania County's residents understand and know about Blue Zones?
Sure. The only negatives I've heard is because people are afraid of something new coming in. I don't want somebody telling me what to do. You can't tell me what to eat. You can't. We're not telling anybody to do anything. We're providing choices. The more choices you have, And the better choices you have, you can make a better decision. And again, I'm gonna go back to 3 words: live longer, better. Who doesn't want to live longer, better? I'm not rich. I can't be in my 60s and 70s and go into the hospital. I would be wiped out. I need to take care of myself and live longer, better. So, and I think that's for most of the community, is we know that we have to start taking care of ourselves. I have friends of mine who worked hard so long. Both of them worked 2 jobs, and they said, when we retire, this is what we're going to go do. Well, guess what? When they retired, he was in an accident, and now he's in a wheelchair. They can't go do anything. Do it now. Live longer, better. Take care of yourself. Now is the moment. Find your purpose. Wake up every day being happy and healthy. That's all I can say. It makes me so happy that we're doing this in Brevard. And not every, lots of communities have raised their hands and said, look at us, and they didn't get chosen. You have to be chosen to be a Blue Zones project. You go through like a 1.5-year process to be chosen. And they thought that we were ready, that we, of course, live in this great place that is conducive to Blue Zones project. So I'm very excited to see what we can do. And somebody sent me an email yesterday and said, you're never going to get me to stop eating meat. Again, I'm not telling you to not eat meat. I am a farm girl. I eat steak. I'm never going to give that up. But guess what? I doubled and tripled my plant consumption, if you will. I have 4 gardens going in my backyard right now. I've added more fruits and vegetables. I've always eaten them. I am a farm girl, but I've doubled that. And so now I don't need as much of the other. I have literally cut my meat consumption in half. So anybody can do it. If I can do it as a serious Midwestern farm girl, anybody can do it. And I feel great. I feel fantastic. And I can't wait to go on a walk right after this.
There you go. Well, live longer, better, right? That's what we all want to do. And that's what we want for our community. And I am so grateful for what you and the rest of the Blue Zone team are doing to help bring the education and the opportunity for us. So thank you for leading the way, Tammy. And I cannot think of a better people person to really engage our community in bringing this. So much that I could say just in terms of gratitude for already the early results. And we're going to have many more of these. And in 3.5 years, we're going to be celebrating with some extraordinary, that's right, some extraordinary results. So thank you for joining us today on Pisgah Health Today, Tammy. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you for having me. And Angela, I hope you live longer, better.
Thank you. Thank you. We also want to thank Wildflower Media for their creative and innovative support in bringing this to the table for us. We also want to thank the Pisgah Health Foundation, their board, their staff, the Physicians Roundtable, and all of the others who are working so diligently right now to help improve the health, wellness, and lives of Western North Carolina residents. Everyone stay well and live longer, better.
Can I throw in something?
Of course.
I forgot to thank the Pisgah Health Foundation for bringing Blue Zones Project to Brevard.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We thank you to the Pisgah Health Foundation for the leadership that they had in bringing it here.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Lex Green and your team.
All right, everyone. Stay well, and we'll see you again soon.